Hello. Hey, friends. Uh, Here I am. Um, Welcome back to my channel, A Stitch in Time. Um, I haven't been around in, as the ice maker. I haven't been around in a while, huh? And if you're new here, welcome. Um, I'm Jill. This is my channel, and you're in my house. And it's been a minute. I haven't posted since March of 2020 when, you know, everything went down. And clearly I made it through. Um, I mean, this is just, I can't even go back and talk about like all the things that have happened in the last 3 years. So I'm just going to start fresh here, right? And so this is my channel, A Stitch in Time. And I talk about all things stitching. And, like a lot of people did during the pandemic, I persevered with my cross stitching, but also picked up new hobbies because why not? Nothing baking related, unfortunately. I tried my hand at, I believe we tried soft pretzels, and they were decent, but it was just that one time. And quick recap. March 2020, I started working from home. I still work from home. Um, there have been some changes that have come along with that as far as teleworking and office. I think I was home full time for a year or maybe a year and a half, and then we went to, one day a week I went into the office. um and then they made it like 2 days, and it was like one day a week and then like one Friday a month, and then it was 2 days a week and every other Friday, and then they've just changed it again where I there's like a set, I go one day a week and then like another day is every other, and then one Friday a month. um yeah, I mean, I love teleworking. I really enjoy it. It's really enabled me to have a lot of balance, um, and just not feel so overwhelmed with home stuff or with work stuff or anything like that. I am married. I have two children. Marley is now 10, and my son Miles is 6. He's in first grade. My husband, in the middle of the pandemic, if you're new here, my husband was a stay-at-home dad for a few years. Um, when my second child was born, my son, we just decided it was like more financially feasible for one of us to stay home, and I have good insurance at my job, so my husband quit his full-time day job. He had like a part-time evening job, and we did that for about 3.5 years, and then pandemic happened. And at the time, my husband had started applying for jobs. And then in the middle of the pandemic, he interviewed and was hired for a really good position with the state. And I work for the state as well. So he's been there. In a couple weeks, it'll be 3 years because he started there in May of 2020, and he loves it. And I'm really proud of him. He's done so well. Um, he's made a lot of friends there. He's received several promotions. He works really hard, and it's been very fortunate for our family, and it's helped out a lot financially. Um, so yeah, Marley's in fourth grade now. Miles is in first. When Miles was in pre-K, we learned that there were a lot of um, abnormal behavior issues that he was having, which in kindergarten led us to evaluation and a diagnosis. Officially, he has ADHD, and there's been a lot of learning, a lot of I wouldn't say changes, but definitely a lot of learning and kind of adjustments in our family, working with that and kind of figuring out language and it's just like when you have kids, obviously they're different individuals, and you have to learn how to approach them differently. I don't want to say parent them differently, but I mean, I definitely feel like, my part of it is that my daughter's older and she understands a lot more and emotional maturity and all of that with her age. But definitely there's a difference in like the way I can say things to her, and then I have to kind of, if I were to say the same thing to him, it would be like a trigger for him, because he wouldn't understand it the way that she does. But so it's definitely been a lot. Pre-K was very difficult for me. I know Danielle, I talked a lot to Danielle about it with her, and it was a lot. And kindergarten was really difficult emotionally. And last year he was in kindergarten. Last year, my mother in the winter, she had her second open heart surgery. Um, Her first open heart surgery was 2011. No, it was 2000, the end of 2012, because I was pregnant with Marley. And 10 years later, she's, recovery wasn't as easy as the first time, obviously. Since I was teleworking, I'm getting Facebook messages. I'm doing something. Since I was teleworking, I was able to work with my employer so that I could be there during the day, because my mom, she is married. Both her and her husband are still working. And so in order to kind of help my mother and her husband so that her husband could still go to work without worry, I was able to work from their house and take care of her the month after she went home to help with her recovery. 2 weeks after she went home, she did have a stroke. Thankfully, her husband hadn't left for work yet, and she has recovered from that. She's doing well. She's definitely feeling that 10-year difference between those surgeries. So yeah, it's been a journey for my mom. Excuse me. So yeah, lots of changes. Like things change, but they still stay the same. Like it's kind of like that kind of thing. Um, but yeah, I just didn't post on FlossTube because I would get busy, or I would be like, oh yeah, I'll do it today, and then I just wouldn't because I didn't feel like it, or I was lazy, and it just wasn't my jam. But lately I've been like, oh, I really miss it, and I really like to show people what I've been working on. Um, and like there's a lot of connection in FlossTube, and it's fun, and you get to see what people are working on and what they're doing and what they're discovering, and it's a really great time, and it's a great community, and we've all found our tribe, and it's just a lot of fun. um, and with the pandemic and everyone being at home, there's a lot of new stitchers, which is awesome, because I mean, how long did we go talking about, oh, there's not a lot of new people, and now there are, and it's great. But during the pandemic, it sucked because all the new people were taking all the stuff, and it was like hard to find anything. But it's better now, so it's great. So let's just dive right in. So one of the things that I kind of got into before the pandemic, but really has ramped up for me in the last few years, is sewing, and particularly quilts. Um, I'm still not a fan of sewing on a machine. There's just a lack of freedom to it. You're just at the machine. I can't sew a straight line to save my life, and you're just at the machine. There's no, you know, if your machine is upstairs in a room, you're in that room. And unless your people are in there with you hanging out, like you're just by yourself and you're kind of isolated from everything else going on in your house, right? Um, so Christine from Stitch All the Things, she is an amazing creator, an amazing stitcher. She, if you're watching her videos lately, you're seeing all her finishes, and she's really into quilting, and she really introduced me to a lot of it, and she was amazing in explaining things to me. And let me play with my hair. And just the process of some of the different methods of quilting. Math is not my jam. Measuring is not my jam. So you know, taking a quilt pattern and cutting out a bunch of pieces of fabric is just not for me. Christine introduced me to foundation paper piecing, which is done with a sewing machine, and I really do enjoy it because the pattern is on a piece of paper and you put your fabric up against the paper and you just sew on the line. You just basically you're tracing with a sewing machine, and I love it. I don't have any of what I've done for foundation piecing down here with me. I haven't even finished the one quilt that I started using that method, but it's really the only method that I do on a sewing machine because just it's not, the sewing machine sewing is not for me. Hand sewing is where I really enjoy it, which makes sense because I love cross stitch so much. I lost some of my light because of there must be clouds out there. So one thing that I did last year is I joined a block of the month. It's a quilt block of the month, and the shop, the quilt shop was called Pink Door Fabrics, which Christine had introduced me to, and I had done an English paper piecing kit from them, and I really loved it. I was like, this is it. English paper piecing is for me. If I'm going to make quilts, that's probably the only way I'm going to make them is English paper piecing. So English paper piecing is really cool. I think it's really cool. So instead of sewing a machine, I mean, some people do it on a machine, but majority of people that do English paper piecing, they do it by hand. So basically with English paper piecing, this is like, this is paper in here. It's like a cardstock. And then, you know, you have your different shapes, and you can either glue based or thread based. So basically you're taking your fabric, you cut around your paper piece, or there are acrylic templates that you can use allowing for the seam. And I glue based, so I take the fabric, you wrap the edge around the paper, and you glue the edges down. And then when you have all your shapes, you sew them together to make your quilt block. So the first one I did was a block of the month, like I said, with Pink Door Fabrics, and the pattern was called Smitten, and it's over there. I'm not going to go get it, but I did the quilt. I think I have a few pieces to sew onto it, and it looks amazing. I used a fabric line called Malibu by Heather Ross. It's super cute. It's like a beachy theme. It has like girls surfing. It's really adorable, and I loved it. Well, this year they decided to do another round of the same pattern. They call it Smitten Round 2. So one of like the only fabric designer that I'm really following and buy her fabrics is Tula Pink, which again, Christine introduced me to. I love Tula Pink's fabrics. I've bought a few of the collections in the last year or two. Not too much because quilt fabrics, it's expensive. I mean, expensive. And that's why I like this block of the month, because you don't commit to buying like a whole collection of fabric and then it sits there and you're trying to figure out what to do with it. Design is not for me. Like you can't give me, oh, here's a quilt pattern and here's this line of fabric, usually like a pile. Here's a line of fabric, design your and sew your quilt together. That's not for me. I want to do the fun stuff. So, You design it, you do all that, and just tell me what to do. So that's why I really like the block of the month that's done with Pink Door Fabrics. Pink Door Fabrics, the ladies there, they design the quilt with the pattern. They provide like a picture. So, okay, so this year they're doing it again, and they're doing Tula Pink's Moon Garden line, and they're also doing is it Bailey? Heather Bailey, Local Honey. That line of fabric is beautiful. So it was a really tough choice because it was like I can't do two at the same time. So I just signed up for Tula Pink's Moon Garden because last year I didn't do Tula Pink. I did Heather Bailey, or Heather Ross. Oh goodness. Um, So this year I was like, I'm going to sign up for Tula Pink's Moon Garden. And I really love that line of fabric. It's like owls and snakes and dragonflies. And it's really pretty fabrics. And you'll see some of it because I have some of the blocks done. So every month they send you the fabric that you need. I already have the acrylic templates because I bought them last year. So every month they send you the fabric that you need for that month's blocks. They send you the paper pieces that you need for that month's blocks. And then for the paper piecing, for glue basting, you can use an Elmer's, school glue stick, or there's also a glue pen by Soline. It's a Soline glue pen. So then every month they also send 2 refills for that Soline glue pen. So like last year, I think I bought the glue pen because I was like, oh, they're going to send the refills anyway. So I'll just might as well get the pen. And I do like it, but Elmer's glue stick, I've used that too, and that's sufficient. I do like getting the purple because you can see where it is and then it dries clear. So that's nice. And then they also include a paper because it's a cutting guide. So it shows you the blocks you're making that month, and then it tells you for each block which fabric you need, which templates you need, and then how many of each template for each fabric that you cut out. So this is the Moon Garden quilt from Tula Pink. And usually with these quilts, they do a rainbow fall or whatever they call it. So this came with the first month. So it shows you how to put the quilt together as you're sewing the blocks. And then this was the first month. So like the first month there were 3 blocks, and then it shows you a cutting guide of like how many of each fabric and what size templates to use. And then I'll show you because I haven't, we're in month 4 now, and I haven't put it all together yet, but I'll show you like what I do. So I got this box at Michael's. It's like a 6x6 paper or like photo box. Marley colored this sticker and gave it to me, so I put it on the box. So what I do each month is they like send stuff in these little bags, and I've saved them all because they're really nice. Because for each block, I'll show you the fabric and the paper. So for each block, they send the paper pieces, so like the diamond, and then there's a template. So I already cut out my pieces for this month. And the templates have a 3/8 seam, so it's, it's obviously bigger than the paper. And then when you're gluing, like I have it flat on the table usually, and I glue, and then I put the glue on the paper, like right here on the edge, and then I just fold the fabric over, and it glues. And then you have all your shapes after you're done gluing, and then you can sew them together. So for month 4, it's not a lot. I think it's like three blocks. So yeah, I keep them in these bags. So like when I'm ready to glue, I just grab a bag, and this is the Soline glue pen. It's got a cap. You twist the thing and the glue comes out. And then these are the refills. So, and then yeah, so for this month, there's 3 blocks. So I started doing the Moon Garden one, right? And I was like, oh, I love this so much. And then I started seeing people doing the Local Honey fabric line. And the Local Honey fabric line is just really beautiful. The colors are like really saturated and intense, and just like these really pretty like jewel tones, and I really like them. So I was like, you know what? I said, whatever. So I bought a half yard bundle of the Local Honey fabric line, and then I bought a half yard bundle of the coordinating solids that go with it. And the ladies at Pink Door Fabrics are wonderful because there is a private Facebook group for our block of the month quilt along, and they post the cutting guides for both versions of the quilt. So thankfully I can still get the Local Honey cutting guide, and I'm doing both versions of the quilt. So every month the cutting guide comes and I'm doing like double because like last month there were like 4 blocks, so I had to do 8 blocks. And I'm trying to keep up with it so I don't get too far behind. The only thing I haven't started yet is sewing the blocks together to make the quilt. So this is the Moon Garden. So this is like the top. That's why it's only like a half a block, like a half, because it's the top of the quilt. And then like here's one that I did. They're pretty big. I have them in like an order. So like here's a snake. And I just really love this technique. Where's the owl? The owl's like really pretty. Here's an owl block. I just love how it comes together. You know, the points, you know, come out really well. If I sewed this on a machine, it would look like garbage because I'm just not that talented on the sewing machine. But I really love English paper piecing. Here's another block with the owl. So English paper piecing, I love it. You know, I take this box. I got a bag for work because I have a laptop. So like when I go in the office, I have to take my laptop with me. So I got this bag off of Amazon that I use for all my work stuff when I have to go to the office. And I just like put my laptop in there, put my wallet in there because I don't take my purse. I have headphones that I take to work with me, so when it's quiet, I can like listen to music or whatever, and without disturbing anyone around me. And then I just took this box in here, and like on a break or like during my lunch, I'll just whip this out and like do a little bit of sewing or gluing, and it's nice. So English paper piecing is a great, just like cross stitch, it's a great portable craft. People take it on trips. I've taken it in the car. I took it to the beach. It's great. I love it. I can't speak highly enough about English paper piecing. If you have questions, please ask me. I am by no means an expert, but I really enjoy it. So I don't want to lose this. All right, so let's talk about cross stitch. So my current, I think the last time I posted, I was working on Death by Cross Stitch. Still not done. Still not done. Significantly more done than the last time I posted, but I didn't get it out. It's over there in a bag. I haven't worked on it in a long time, but there was a time where I worked on it like nonstop. I only have like, I don't know, a portion of the bottom. I mean, I could probably finish it if I really buckled down and focused on it for a couple months, but my attention is elsewhere now. Also, I think last when I posted, I was working on His Eyes on the Sparrow. I finished that. It took me like a year. It's a beautiful piece. I have Consider the Lilies kitted up. I have a lot of stuff kitted up. It's ridiculous. But right now, my focus piece is this. The Scarlet Letter, a peacock, a unicorn, a badger. This is an amazing piece of stitching. Just amazing. And this book is like, it's an expensive pattern. I mean, it's definitely more than 10 bucks. It's more than 20, okay? But it's just a beautiful, I mean, this is like, I'm going to keep this when I'm done. So definitely, like, if you're never going to stitch it, it's definitely collector worthy, I would guess. And I have written in it, so I'm going to... And this is solid stitching, okay? Like, all that background color, that's all solidly stitched. I know there are several people I've seen posting on Instagram that are working on it. Abby Bella Stitch, Emily C. I've seen other people too working on it. But I bought this, I want to say last year around Christmas time. We went to Ocean City, and my birthday is on December 31st. And we went to Salty Yarns, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to treat myself for my birthday. This is what I'm buying myself. Because it, like I said, it is not a cheap pattern. The pages, it's a full color pattern inside. It's got glossy pages. It's got, you know, it's a great publication. Really love this book. And I've just, you know, this is how I stitch it. I just bend it up and fold it in half and all that. So I'm really beating it up. And I wrote in it because I was like, whew, this is a lot. How do I mark this off? So I started using a pen to mark it up, and I'm just like, I stopped doing that, but there's definitely some writing in some of the pages. So I am not doing this solidly stitch. I'm not stitching in the background. When I bought it, I was like, how can I get out of doing that? So I decided to stitch it on a dark green piece of fabric. And it's called Glastonbury Tour. And I feel terrible because I can't remember if I got this from Fabrics by Steph or Under the Sea Fabrics. Oh, it's horrible. I really can't remember. And the bag is like all the way over there with the... Let me just grab it. Dang it. All right, hold on. Here it is. Glastonbury Tour Fabrics by Steph. And it's a 40 count. Okay, I'm back. It's a 40 count. The model was stitched on 40 count. And listen, I don't do that whole 2-inch, 3-inch margin. If I can buy a piece of fabric and make it fit, it's fine. So, so this is how much I have done. I don't know how much you can see. It's like, I don't know. This is how much I have done. I'm trying to hold it up without the light coming through it, but so this is what I got. 40 count Glastonbury Tour fabric by Steph. It's a dark green. Sometimes it looks like kind of washed out. So, oops. So, I mean, I think it's picking up pretty well. Like it's darker than that. I'm trying to, I don't know. It's pretty dark. But if I fold it like this, I'm really happy with the progress. And this is all I'm working on right now. I try to work on it a little bit every day. And like I said, I'm not doing the background stitching. That's why I picked the dark green fabric, so I could afford that. I was like, how can I get on doing the background stitching? And that's what I came up with. So I did start it. I started it last year as my like birthday start. And at the time, I was like, oh my gosh, this fabric is so dark. I can't see it. I couldn't see, like, you know, the holes to stitch it because it is a pretty dark fabric. And I put like 10, 15 stitches in to start it. And then I was just like, I'm not doing this. And I put it away. And this year, I don't know, like, I got it back out, I want to say maybe Christmas time or for my birthday. And I was like, I'm going to work on this. And, you know, I'm going to try it again. And I'm just checking. Okay. And then I just haven't stopped. I've just, for some reason, it's easier this year. Not because my eyes are better, but after a little bit, I just seem to get it. And I really like it. I really like stitching on it. You know, I'm not, like I said, I'm not doing the background. So like every one of these little motifs that I finished, a bird, a flower, the peacock, you know, is took me the longest because it's bigger than everything else that I stitched so far. But like every bird, every flower, the tree, like everything is like a little, every time you finish one of the motifs, it's like, oh yay, I finished something, and then you just move on to the next thing. So really that's what I've been working on. I tried to do Sal with Christine for the Snow Village by Country Cottage Needleworks, and I worked on it for like 2 or 3 weeks because she works on it every Sunday, and I was like, oh, I could do that. But then I just got so into this, and we started the Sal in March, and I did like the first 2 or 3 Sundays, and then I just got on this. I think I messed something up on it, and I was like, oh, I'm not doing this. And then I was just so into doing this that I haven't gone back to it on a Sunday. I just keep working on this, which is fine. I mean, it's whatever. A Sal is a Sal. But she's moving right along on hers, and it looks awesome. So, but yeah, and then, so the other thing that I really got into, particularly like the last year, are tumblers. I love a good tumbler. For a hot minute, I was into the Starbucks cups, and I have like 4 or 5 of them. But then I quickly realized, these are not for me. They don't keep my stuff cold as long as I would want. So for me, it's a stainless steel. And this cup is from Swig Life. This pattern is called Lazy River. And it's so funny because I was following their Instagram back in February, and they did like reels from shops that sell their cups. And a reel had this cup in it I was like, oh my God, I love that for summer. It's so cute, like with this floaty and everything. I want that. And I went on the website and I couldn't find it. And I was like, what is this? So apparently like some of the stores had it, but like no stores around me sell these tumblers. Like these are really big, like in places around the beach. We went to Myrtle Beach last summer for vacation, and everywhere we went, they had Brewmates and Swig Life and Corksicle and Tervis. Like there was literally stores called My Cup, and all they sold were tumblers from these different brands. So somehow I found the wholesale catalog for Swig Life online, and I was like, oh, this isn't being released till May. So I was just like, or April. I was like counting down the days, and I was like, so when it finally showed up on their website in April, I bought 2. This is a 32 ounce. It's big. And then I got like a 20 ounce that has a handle. And they sell the reusable straws. And they have this set of like 6 straws on clearance for $5. And I was like, I'm getting it. So I love these stainless steel tumblers. Yeah, I have 1 to 2 on my desk every day. One held water. This has water. And then the other one, usually in the afternoon, I add a second one because it has iced coffee in it. The other thing is, like, I drink a lot of water, but I got kind of tired of like the plain water taste. So I started getting Crystal Light liquid water enhancer. It's like a little bottle this big. It's like $3. Grocery store, Walmart, Target. They have several flavors. My favorite one is the blueberry raspberry. But they have like different lemonade flavors, and some of the flavors have caffeine in them. But that's my favorite. That's my go-to. Every time I go to the store, I buy like 1 or 2 bottles. I have a bottle I keep at work at my desk. Because on my office days, I fill this with ice to take to work because we don't have ice at work. But we have a water fountain. So in the morning on my office days, Dunkin' Donuts, iced coffee. This is filled with ice in my work bag. In the morning, I do my iced coffee from Dunkin', and then I fill this up in the water fountain, add a little swish of my Crystal Light water enhancer, and I'm good to go. And I'll refill this like 2 or 3 times every day. It's great. And then I have one at night. And I refill it at night to put by the bed. Gotta have a little Swig Life. So if you like tumblers, I highly recommend Swig Life. If you go to their website, you can set up an account and register, and like when you buy something, you register it. You get points when you buy stuff. You get points when you register. You get points when you leave reviews. And like when you get so many, because I mean, these aren't cheap. And I was seeing on Instagram, like, how are these people getting like 3 of these cups at a time? Like, they're expensive. And I realized that like they build up their points because you can use your points and get like, eventually you have so many points, you get like a $50 coupon. You're getting free cups. So, and they make great gifts. I would love to get these cups as gifts. And they have all kinds of different patterns. Help yourself. Uh, my little free ad for Swig Life. But they're great cups, and they sell like lunch bags and cooler bags. I haven't tried any of those, but I just like the different patterns, right? The different patterns are great. This is so cute. They had other ones I liked, and don't be shocked if I end up with more of them. So yeah. So I have some haul here. I have tried my best to do better with spending. I mean, like everybody, because inflation is like ridiculous right now. And the pandemic has just whipped everybody, right? I work in social services or human services, so I've seen a lot of crazy stuff in the last few years. I've heard a lot of things. I do case management for like SNAP and medical assistance and cash assistance, and it's just crazy what people have been through the last couple years. So really the only stash I have, as far as haul is when Nashville Market comes around in the spring. That's the only time I've kind of splurged the last couple years. Or like when we go on vacation, I'll make a special trip to whatever local needlework store there is. Um, Summer of 2020, we didn't go anywhere, clearly. I don't think we did. No, we didn't. 2021, we went to Florida. My husband and I were like, we're going to go on a family vacation. Um, we wanted to go somewhere we had never been before. And, our usual go to is like Virginia Beach, Myrtle Beach. We don't do Ocean City as a vacation destination. It's just not for us. We'll do Ocean City as like a day trip or like we go off season. Um, because peak season rates for Ocean City are like ridiculous. Um, so I said, what about Florida? And Vanna, the Twisted Stitcher, um, her and her family go to, or did in the past, went to St. Augustine, Florida. So I was like, oh, okay, well, let me check out this area because we weren't doing Disney. And I didn't want to go in the vicinity of Disney and have to disappoint my kids by being like, look, there's Disney, but we're not doing that. So like Orlando and surrounding area was kind of out of the question because I didn't want to put myself through that. But one day Disney is going to happen because for myself, I want to go to Disney. Um, so we went to St. Augustine, Florida, and we rented this amazing cottage off Airbnb. It was just kind of fell into our laps. It was new, so it had never been rented before. It was a couple that renovated these like 5 cottages in the historic part of the city. And so it was a private area. There was off street parking, which is kind of unheard of in that area of the city. And they had a private pool. And we went for a week, and it was excellent. And I would stay in that place again because it was super cute. And I found a local needlework store there. It was called Stitcher's Paradise. Um, and it was really nice. And she had a lot of stuff in there, a lot of stuff. And I grabbed a few things there. I don't remember what it was, but when we went to Myrtle Beach, I went to Barefoot Needle Arts, and that is a great little shop. The ladies there are very nice. I got Plum Street's Live on Little and kitted that up while I was there, and I got a project bag, but it's in my stuff. I'm not gonna dig it out. So yeah, I do stuff like that. So like when we go on vacation, I try to find if there is a needle workshop in the area. I try to go and support the business because that's what we need to do as cross stitchers. And so market happened right this year, and lots of really great stuff came out. And I pre-ordered some charts from Farm Girl Dry Goods, Michelle Rudy. I pre-ordered some charts from her and got those. And then my kids had spring break, and we decided to go. We needed a change of scenery. We're not going to go on a vacation this summer. We're going to save the money. And so we're like, well, let's go to Ocean City. We'll take a long weekend. We went for 2 nights. And the needle workshop in Ocean City is Salty Yarns. I mean, without a doubt. Anybody asks about Ocean City, I'm like, oh, have you been to Salty Yarns? And they recently moved and got a bigger space. Excuse me. It's huge. I've never seen a needle workshop this big in all my years of going to needle workshops. It's the biggest shop I've ever been in, and they got a lot of stuff. So let me show you the charts that I got from Market. So I got 2 Teresa Wenslers. I got Beauty Fades, and I got Remember Me, if you can see it. 2 really great charts. One thing, I was talking to Christine about this when I got these in the mail. I've been stitching for a long time, but I have never seen the quality of charts that are coming out as nice as they are now. Like, this is not, these are beautifully published. The layouts are really great. I'm not going to show you the inside, but look at this. These are, at this point, the charts, you're getting what you're paying for, and they're not just like, oh, I'm going to stitch it and throw it away. These are keepsakes, right? These are collectible. They're keepsakes. Like, I'm going to stitch this and then I'm going to keep the chart, this is not like copier paper out of someone's basement that they printed off their HP inkjet. And, and charts that are like that, no, nothing against them. But these are just, they're so well put together, and the publishing is just really great. And the ease of reading the chart, which I'm, again, not going to show you, is just chef's kiss, And then for Beauty Fades, I forget what this is called. It's an R&R reproduction fabric. I remember that, but I don't remember which one it is. I want to say Stars Hollow. I want to say American, I don't know where I threw away the label or cut it off. I don't remember. And then I had gotten this is Fiber on a Whim Milk and Honey. Love Fiber on a Whim fabric. So hello from Liz Matthews. Liz is wonderful. Liz asked me to stitch some models for her, and I was just honored to do it. I think I did, I want to say 3 or 4 models for her, and I love doing it. I love stitching the models. I love stitching it and then here you go, because I seem to be a stitcher that stitches it and then folds it up, and I don't have anything framed or finished. So yeah, so I have those 2 charts, and then I got all the DMC and the threads for it. I have fabric for it. They're fully kitted. The last, when my kids had spring break, what I did was I had the charts already. So I was like, well, now I just need the threads. So when we went to Salty Yarns, I got all the threads. I also stopped at my LNS that I usually frequent, the Stitching Post in Catonsville, Maryland. Got a bunch of threads there, and I got this chart there. This came out at Nashville as well, The Tiny Modernist, A Stitcher's Garden. This is really cute. I love this. The Stitching Post had a model stitched on the wall, and I was like, oh, where is that? Do you have any of those? And they have a basket of the charts that are stitched as models in the shop, and it was right in the front, and I was like, I'll take one. And I have the DMC for it, and I got it's stitched on 28 count linen in Water Lily by Witchell, and I got that. I also got the Tiny Modernist cat tapestry that came out at Market. I love it. We have a cat. She's 10 years old. We got her shortly after we bought our house, when she was a year old. So here's the fabric. I got the same fabric for both pieces, Water Lily. So I got a small cut and a big cut for both. And then they're both in this bag together. But this past fall, my husband and I were talking about getting her a friend, and she's getting older, and you know, maybe it would be nice for her to have a friend, someone to hang out with, and you know, we'd like to have a kitten. And in September, we just randomly decided to go to the local SPCA, and they don't take walk-ins, but they had like a lot of kittens at the time. And so we walked in, we're like, oh, well, I saw on your website that you're doing free adoptions for cats this weekend, and you had some kittens, and we'd like to take a look. And they were like, oh, usually like adoptions are by appointment only, but you're here. And they had so many, so I think they were just glad to have any interest at all. And it was like a Friday. So they were like, listen, you fill out this application, and while we look it over, you can go back and look at the kittens. And we were like, awesome. Which if they had said no, like it's by appointment only, it would have been fine. And we were like planning to take anything home that day. We were just like, oh, well, we're just looking and like trying to decide. We went home with 2 kittens that day. It's 2 males from the same litter, so they're brothers, and they're 10 months old now. And they were only like 4 weeks old when we brought them home. So it was definitely like different bringing home kittens that were only 4 weeks old as opposed to when we brought home a cat that was 1 when we got her. So it was a learning experience for all of us when it came to having kittens that little. But they're adorable. That one is orange and white, and the other is black and white. The orange and white one is Taco. My husband named him. And then the other one, Marley named him Chili. He's black and white. And they're great. They're so cute. And they're running around here. And our older cat, though, she's not a fan. She'll kind of sniff around them and like at them. But other than that, she's like, no, they're not for me. But I think as they kind of get older, I mean, because they're young and they're rambunctious and wild. So as they get older, they'll kind of settle. And I know Taco, he looks at her like, I just want to be your best friend and snuggle with you, and you won't let me anywhere near you, and I'm sad. But I think it'll come. I think as they get older and settle more into their catness and their kitten wildness disappears, it'll be more on her level. I mean, they're down here running around right now playing, and she's upstairs sleeping. She doesn't want any part of it. Okay, so the next one I got was, I saw this posted at Market and was like, OMG, I have to have it. With Thy Needle and Thread, Mary Ancock, 1839. I love this. I love that there's yellow. Like, I haven't seen a lot of samplers that have this kind of aesthetic. A lot of samplers I see are like a lot of red and pink, and I love that this is yellow. Like, it's just yellow and gold, and I love it. I love the basket right there. Again, kitted, got all the threads. I actually had the fabric that it's called for, 36 count American Chestnut by R&R Reproductions. I found this in my stash when I was going through my fabrics. I was like, OMG, I have this. What is it? This is 36 or 40. I can't remember. This is 36, so it's exactly as the model is stitched. So that's really exciting, and someday I'll stitch it. And last but not least, I met up with Danielle a while ago at the Stitching Post, because the Stitching Post remodeled, like, I want to say last year, and we hadn't seen it yet. So I was like, we need to go so we can go see it. It's smaller than it used to be, but it's very nicely organized. So it's not like all, you know, even though the space of the store itself is smaller, the merchandise is very well organized. So you're not like, OMG, there's so much stuff and there's no space. it's done very well. So they had a model of Lila's Studio, the Spring Quaker. And that's not really my jam, but when I saw the model at this shop, I was like, oh, I love that. I have to have it. So I bought it. I have the Spring Quaker chart. Haven't stitched it. Not even kitted up. But I was saying, if she comes out at market with the Summer Quaker, I'm getting it. And she had posted like a peek of it on her Instagram like a while ago. And like in the picture was like Quaker stitching and like crabs. And I went, oh, she's doing it. So that's what I got. Lila's Studio Summer Quaker. It's a great chart. Sorry for the glare. But I love it. The crabs and the lobster and the mermaid and the whale. It's just like the starfish. All the motifs are just perfect. And this is charted all in DMC. And the fabric, I think the model she did on 486 count. But she gives you the size for like all different counts. I think my fabric, the model is stitched on is Latte by Fiber on a Whim. Again, I was going through my stash and was like, OMG, I have Latte by Fiber on a Whim. And it's 36 count and it's big enough. So that's what I'm using. 36 count Latte by Fiber on a Whim. Again, that's where I was going with Fiber on a Whim. When I was doing the models for Liz from Hello by Liz Matthews, she sent me a model to stitch and it used Fiber on a Whim fabric, and it was the first time I ever stitched on it. And I was like, Liz, I love this fabric. It is great. It's amazing. Like, I love the dye. I love the feel of the fabric. This is really great fabric. So she introduced me to Fiber on a Whim fabric, and I just love it. I love the cream and sugar, the milk and honey, like the lighter neutrals. I really like those. And like anytime I see them, if I can, I grab a piece, usually a fat quarter. That way, you know, if I want something smaller, I can just cut it in half. So yeah, so that's what I got going on. I'm really, this, you know, and this is like what I'm focusing on right now. Can't speak highly enough about English paper piecing. I've done some diamond painting. Because Danielle got back into diamond painting, and around my birthday, I was on the website and they were like having this big sale. Excuse me. They were having this big sale, and I saw a couple that I liked, and I was like, happy birthday to me. I had like 3. One I actually finished. And I really like it. I'm gonna have to figure out like how to frame it. But yeah, so that's all I got, like crafty wise. I can tell you in my house, Christmas 2020, my you know, the kids are off the week after, like between Christmas and New Year's, the kids are off school. So I had taken off work and I was like, I'm gonna enjoy the week with my kids and like hang out and have fun. And my son flooded one of the bathrooms. The toilet got stopped up. And like sometimes our toilets run. So I'm like, you got to go upstairs and jiggle the handle so it stops running. And he went up there to do that. And he came down and he was like, Mommy. And he was like really scared. And he's like, it's dripping. It's dripping on the floor. And I was like, no. So I run upstairs. And as I'm running up the stairs, I hear the trickle of the water hitting the floor. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I run in and sure enough, the toilet is overflowing. It hasn't like a lot at that point, but I was like, oh my God. And we were already planning to redo the bathrooms because when we moved in, the floor was done with ceramic tile. It wasn't done well. So after we moved in and, you know, started walking around on it, there were loose tiles, there was a cracked tile, and both bathrooms upstairs had the same type of flooring. So I was like, we're gonna have to redo these. Well, that kind of got into a fast forward when my son, you know, blocked the toilet and overflowed. Thankfully, there was no like poo or pee in the water. But yeah, it was a big mess. I like freaked out. I was like upstairs screaming, you know, like that episode of Monica and Friends where she's like, no! That was me upstairs in the bathroom. And it was like I was like having the kids like bring me every towel you can find, and then I was running fans, and then the tiles in this bathroom were so loose that I was just picking them up by hand and throwing them in the trash. So I ended up remodeling a bathroom. Um, my husband and I had never done it before. It was definitely a learning experience. And I was like, well, we're done this bathroom. Might as well do the next. So 2021, I spent the first, I think it was like the first 3 to 6 months remodeling bathrooms, because like we're just doing the same floor in both bathrooms. So I said, well, we already did this one and I painted it, and like, we kept the vanity and everything, but I painted it. We did new floor, and I was like, well, we did this one, might as well just do the other one. So I went to work picking up the tiles and chipping out the mortar and like getting the floor prepared. And my husband, he did the floor with me. I painted the other so 2 bathrooms in 2021. Last year we decided, well, we'll just keep going. The second floor in our house is carpeted. It was not a well done job. It was a lot of buckles. It was cheap carpets. There are a lot of areas where there's a lot of wear. It just look good, and I was just like, I don't like this. It's really hard to maintain carpet with children and pets, and I just don't want it. So we can do it. We can do it. So last year, our project, it's still not done. In the summer last year, we started replacing the carpet with luxury vinyl plank, and it's still not done. We have the last room is my daughter's room, and we like did half the room, and then we ran out. So I have to contact the flooring company to order more so we can finish it. And then I told my daughter that we would redo her bedroom. So I got her a new bed, but we're like, we're not going to do all that and new furniture until the floor is done, because we're just going to move it. So I'm hoping within the next couple of months to get the floor done, to paint, to purge, and get her new bed in there. And, because she's 10 now, so she's, a little grown up. And so, yeah. So lots of stuff. And so, yeah, I'm really excited to be back here with you guys. I'm hoping maybe I post once a week, once a month, probably once a month, because I don't got that much going on. And I'm happy to be back here with you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. I hope you are stitching while I'm chatting away, and you enjoyed seeing my progress on my English paper piecing and my scarlet letter piece and some of the stash that I've acquired. And you've enjoyed seeing me again, and I hope to be back here with you in a few weeks. So have a great day. See ya.